Hey everyone, welcome to the Fighting Dementia podcast. We're a podcast for those living with dementia or those supporting someone living with dementia who are in the early to middle stages. I'm Leon, one of the presenters.
Hi, I'm Fran and I have Alzheimer's and mixed dementia.
And I'm Tom. I was diagnosed with mixed dementia 8 years ago and I'm living really well with it.
So welcome everyone to another episode of Fighting Dementia podcast with Fran and Tom and myself. You okay?
Hiya.
Hi.
Yeah, good.
And it's my pleasure to welcome Kirsty, who is a dietitian and a team lead in, well, I'll let you introduce yourself, Kirsty. Take it away. Great to have you here.
Nice to be here and thank you for inviting me on the show. So I'm Kirsty Robinson and I'm a dietetic team lead for stroke and neuro. So I work with inpatients predominantly, but I've been working as a dietitian with an interest in brain health for almost 20 years.
Awesome. Why were you so interested in being a dietitian and how did you end up in the neuro space in terms of thinking about brain health?
So I think when I was looking at career options when leaving school, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I knew I was interested in science and I wanted to work with people, but I didn't see myself being a nurse or a pharmacist or so a colleague actually, my dad had a colleague who was a dietitian and introduced me to Kay, and she was so enthusiastic about the role of diet in promoting our health and allowing us to live kind of healthy lives. And the fact it's a kind of evolving science, like our diets over the last 100 years have changed dramatically. And therefore, you're constantly kind of learning and the research is kind of ongoing. So that kind of led me to study dietetics. I think I didn't really know what a dietitian was back then fully, and I think a lot of the public don't know. There's
I still don't know, so I'm looking to hear. I'm looking forward to hearing
around food and nutrition. It can be quite overwhelming. So dietitians, they study a 4-year degree in sort of biochemistry, pathophysiology, nutritional science, in order to try to translate the science and the evidence base about nutrition to the public in ways that people understand. You do get registered nutritionists who are really well qualified and able to give that information, that advice, but equally it's not a protected title. So anybody can really give nutritional advice and call themselves a nutritionist, whereas a dietitian is a protected title. So kind of fast forward almost 20 years, I worked in Fort William originally. And at that time, my granddad was living with dementia. And then I went on to work in Glasgow and then in East London. And then in the last 5 years in Dundee. So I think nutrition is an important part of our health for everybody, but brain health is part of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a bit of a longer answer maybe than you were looking for.
No.
That was a good one.
Yeah, it was great.
We're very nosy.
So did you see something with your granddad in terms of his diet, or did you think about his diet because of what you were learning at the time? Was it like that, or was that before?
Yeah, I mean, so my granddad was very health conscious. He stopped smoking after the war. He would regularly walk, exercise. He was very active in his retirement, went to art classes. He was a retired physics teacher. But he had a triple bypass at 80 years old. And he developed dementia in his mid-80s and then went on to live until he was 95 and lived with dementia for a long time, having a good quality of life. So I found it, I guess my granddad lived to 95, which is an amazing age, and lived very well for the vast majority of that. And part of that would have been his good diet and his exercise and how diligent he was with his lifestyle. So yeah, as a dietitian, it gives you that personal insight, which you don't necessarily have until you have a family member living with dementia. You don't have the same insight as as a health professional without that family member. So that definitely gave me an interest in brain health. I think one of the main things with stroke certainly is the recovery that people can make. People can have a significant brain injury and can make massive gains and improvements. And that's not just through nutrition, but through activity, through medical treatments that have progressed dramatically over the years. But it's that understanding that the brain doesn't stay the same. I think in the 1960s, they thought that once you were an adult, your brain stayed the same and there were really no changes. Whereas what we know now is there's neuroplasticity there, and there's changes that we can make as individuals that improve our brain health. So yeah, bit of a tangent again, but certainly that little personal experience of my granddad definitely made me more interested in brain health and dementia being a part of that.
I think that's fantastic. You came to it from a sort of positive point of view. You saw someone diagnosed at 85 or mid 80s who lived to 95 and, as you say, lived well. And you saw that in real time with an 85-year-old who was eating healthily and being active, living well, like you guys are doing, living well with it. Mm-hmm.
How important is diet with someone with dementia?
I mean, a lot of people think there's a kind of magic bullet. There's one food or one nutrient which is the be all and end all. Whereas nutrition is one element of healthy living. So I as a dietitian will advocate for healthy eating and for good nutrition as being important. However, things like exercise has been really shown to be extremely important. Social interaction, stress reduction, not drinking too much alcohol, smoking. So yeah, nutrition is one element of that. But I think the good thing about nutrition is it's something that we can all make changes to our diet. And it doesn't need to be dramatic changes. It can be small changes that can improve our overall health. So yeah, I would say it's very important, but it's alongside everything else.
So I've bagged on about giving up sugar and cutting out sugar. Would you, as a dietitian, go along with that?
So, I mean, it depends how much sugar you were eating before.
How about what was it? 3 tablespoons on your cereal, was it?
That's
teaspoons.
Me.
Teaspoons.
Terribly sorry.
Which we actually found out in another episode. Marion, Tom's wife, who's sat off camera, didn't know that there was the amount of sugar going on the cereal as there was, but you've managed to cut it out, haven't you, Tom?
Yeah, but my excuse is, I do a lot of cycling and walking, so I think I burn it off.
Yeah, I think there's no bad food as such. I think it depends on the rest of your diet. And so the national recommendations in the UK are to try to have less than 50 grams of sugar per day. And so if people were to have 1 can of full sugar juice, which is actually very difficult to do now that they all have sweeteners, then that's nearly 50 grams. 1 Mars bar is about 30 grams. But again, it depends on your overall diet. I think the thing with pure sugar is there's a lack of nutrients in it. Whereas if, for example, you were to have some prunes with your cereal, then you're going to have all the vitamins and minerals and the fiber. And yes, it contains sugar, but it's got all that goodness with it too. But it depends on whether you like prunes.
Sorry, Fran, you were going to ask a question.
Oh, no, it's okay. What I wanted to ask you was, do you work in a hospital base or community as well? Because people with young-onset dementia probably won't get a dietitian. Because I've never been referred. Have you, Tom?
Nope.
No. So what do we do about that to get the message out?
I think that's a really good point. I think dietetics on the whole, a lot of our resource is used for people who have advanced illness have acute illness, and many of us are hospital based. We do have community dietitians, but again, rather than being preventative, the focus is on kind of treatment of complications of disease. So, I mean, ideally, anybody with early onset would have access to a dietitian, whether that be in a one-to-one setting or in a group setting. But currently, the way that resources are used, it's there should be more of a focus on prevention. So, and I think I had a good look online out of curiosity just to see what resources are out there for people. And when you look at sort of eating and drinking and dementia, many of the resources are focused on people living with kind of advanced disease and the eating and drinking difficulties that people can have then. There's very few resources focused on what to do if you're newly diagnosed, and what healthy living advice in terms of eating and drinking can make a difference. So I think there's definitely a bit of a gap there, and it's made me reflect taking part in this podcast. I think we definitely could work with organisations to promote the message of nutrition as being one element of something you can change to try to improve your health on diagnosis. Did you have anybody talk to you about healthy eating or diet?
No.
Nope.
No.
Nothing.
Any kind of healthy living advice or on exercise or?
No.
Absolutely nothing.
You're left out on a limb, basically, because you're young. And I think medical teams feel that because you're young, you're okay, and you'll sort it out. But that's not true, because we don't get that help, do we, Tom?
No, there's nothing.
About stuff like that. Like when I had a stroke, because I have vascular, and I think it was mentioned to me then, but that was only to do with the stroke. If I hadn't had the stroke, I still wouldn't have been advised regarding my diet. Exercise, that you get told that all the time with different illnesses that you might have. So you've got that in your pocket. But when it comes to a dietitian, I don't know about you, Tom, but our tastes change, and we can get a lot of you want sugar, you want things like that. So like Tom, obviously, with his 6 spoons.
Yeah, sugar.
But like chocolate, cake, you just have a total change of your dietetic needs. So you just, sometimes you can't change that thought. So I'd like to know a way of getting round that, and, definitely sorting my diet out. But I got diagnosed as a type 2 diabetic, and I went to one course about that. So that had a bit of an impact. But it's the likes of everybody else who hasn't, and they're just left out on a limb. So I don't know how we can change that, because Tom and I would certainly do something if we had to speak to people.
Well, nothing to me tastes of anything now. I have to have chili flakes or Tabasco sauce or something to give it a flavour.
And I think you've hit the nail on the head. Like, I think a lot of research is done in maybe taste changes with people with more advanced disease, when actually you're experiencing those taste changes and that change in likes and dislikes at a much earlier point, and that sounds like it's having an impact on you.
It certainly is.
It does, yeah.
And we looked at dementia cookbooks. We bought a couple. We did some research, and there was nothing addressing that. Okay, how do I eat healthily for my brain health? But given that my tastes have gone, and I'm really interested in textures or chili or stronger flavours. You talked about red chutney and feta cheese.
Yeah.
No, goat's cheese.
Goat's cheese.
Dish that Fran had, and she absolutely loved it. So that sort of sparked us looking at different cookbooks. But there's nothing actually out there. And like you say, resources and guides of like, okay, your tastes are going, but here's how to eat a really nice meal, and actually you'll get something out of it in terms of the textures, the tastes, the flavours. So yeah, it'd be good to hear your thoughts around all that and what you can do. And
yeah, I mean, certainly a preference for sweet foods is something that you come across quite commonly. And sometimes something we might suggest is choosing foods that are naturally sweet. So things like butternut squash, for example, or sweet potatoes, or but again, whether or not that meets that need for something sweet is impossible for me to say. Certainly, some people will add honey to savoury foods, and again, it is pure sugar. It's a natural source. I think you have to balance the change in tastes versus not eating enough and not getting enough protein or fibre, vitamins and minerals. So it sounds like you've made some adaptations by adding chutneys, chili oil, flakes. And I guess some people might go for the salt, and the salt might not be the best thing to go for, whereas herbs and spices would be better. But it does sound like maybe there's definitely a significant gap for younger people and people diagnosed with dementia in those early stages about nutrition and eating and drinking, and what changes you experience and what helps to manage that. Is it significant enough it would stop you from wanting to eat a meal, Tom? Or is it just the enjoyment from eating is not the same?
As long as I've got chili flakes or Tabasco, I'll just eat it. Put loads of that on and I'm fine. I know it's not flavour, it's just heat, but it gets there. But I do eat lots of apples, but Marion says I ate too many because there's too much sugar in them. So I can't really win, can
I? She's very nice, Marion. Don't.
She sounds like she's keeping me on the straight and narrow.
Yeah, she tries her best to keep him on the straight and narrow.
Yeah. But it's not going to work.
We really hope you're enjoying this podcast. We want this to be one of the best free resources for any family affected by dementia. With your help, we can build the biggest community in the world for supporting, guiding and comforting everyone who faces cognitive issues and the people around them. So please hit that subscribe button or share it with someone who needs it.
But yeah, fruits are obviously naturally sweet and contain lots of fibre. Like we recommend, the recommendations in the UK are 5 portions of fruit and veg a day, and they can be fresh or dried or frozen. And in other countries, the recommendations are much higher than that. I think I've only come across one person where they were trying to lose weight and they weren't, and they were eating about 20 portions of fruit a day, which I think is a lot of sugar and something that's quite difficult to do. But most people are not going to eat in excess. That the benefit from the fruit and the sugar and the fibre is not going to be of detriment to them. If somebody has diabetes, then we recommend having sort of 1 portion at a time, as opposed to having 3 portions with your yogurt in the morning and spreading it out throughout the day. But yeah, fruits are obviously naturally sweet. From other people you've spoken to, have they looked into dietary advice themselves, or have they got any advice from health professionals? Or
Not as far as I know.
I don't think
there's
so.
a lot out there. I think there's so much going on when you get diagnosed with dementia, and there's so little from the health services in general. You know, never mind about getting your medication right or what medication might work for you. I think a lot of it's in the early days focused on medication. And I mean, the idea of like living well with dementia, or here's like a booklet of, you know, look after your sleep socially, and like, it's not there, is it? Like,
no, there's nothing.
I've been learning just through doing this podcast, and there's pockets of things, but unless you're really motivated to pull it all together in terms of the behavior changes that you can make, which is what we're focused on, which is why it's great having you on to discuss the diet, because that's one of the pillars, I guess. There isn't much out there, is it? Once you're diagnosed, like, even the idea of living well with it is not even communicated. It's
like,
because they don't know.
There's your diagnosis. Off you go.
Yeah.
And look after yourself.
Mm. Yeah. And some of that is postcode dependent. Some areas can be better than others. But even like the dementia care navigators, they don't necessarily have the time to sit with you and talk about diet or leave you with like good information.
I think it's just bypassed because people don't see what effect it would have. Sometimes it's just they concentrate on other parts of the dementia for looking after you, like the physical side and stuff like that. But I don't think, I know no one spoke to me about my diet until I got diagnosed with the type 2.
And there's diet, and we've talked a lot about drinking water, Kirsty, as well. I don't know if that's something that you cover in your practice, discussing the amount of water you take and etc.
And certainly hydration is really important. And sometimes as we get older, our thirst, our ability to feel thirsty isn't as good as it once was. So making a conscious effort to drink 6 to 8 glasses of fluid a day. And we say it doesn't need to be water necessarily. It can be diluting juice. It can be tea, coffee. But strong coffee can have a diuretic effect, but instant coffee less so. So yeah, definitely water is important. Most of our body is made from water. But it definitely sounds like there's a significant gap there. Like I think at the moment, so 2015, there was 50 million people living with dementia, and that's estimated worldwide to go up to 150 million by 2050. And I think there's been a lot of emphasis on diagnosing people earlier, but maybe not enough emphasis on seeing what support or what information could be useful to people at different times. I'm aware of, there's definitely pockets, depending on your postcode, of kind of healthy lifestyle intervention groups. But I'm certainly in East London, there were some, but they were small trials at that time. And I'm not sure what exists in Scotland. I'm not aware of any in my local area. But yeah. So water is important. Do you drink enough? All of you?
I don't. I try to.
I have 3 bottles of water a day, only small bottles. But that's how much I drink. But when I go cycling, I don't bother drinking. And I'll do 20 miles without having a drink. So,
have you always done that?
Yeah. It's being at home, though. Sometimes I'll forget to drink. I don't know why I forget, but I do. I know we've got Alexa to remind me.
Yeah. Like I am terrible for losing water bottles. I bring my water bottles to work, and then I tend to leave them in work, or I leave them in the bottom of my bag and I don't refill them. But it's finding what works for you, and going with it that way.
Yeah,
but certainly fluids. I think as well, people forget things like soup is fluid, like fruit has fluid in it. But fluid is important.
Great. Have you guys got any other questions for Kirsty before we have a little break?
That's great.
No, not really. Only, how we can get the information out to dietitians and to other people in the medical profession that we need our diet discussed because everything changes. And that'd be really helpful.
I totally agree. Yeah. I don't think that understanding that your tastes and your view of food drastically changes, and nobody is, who's qualified talks to you about that or what you can do.
And it does. You mentioned it before, Kirsty. When you go out to eat, it ruins your experience. Isn't as good. You have good textures. That's what I bank on now. Is like, that was just how I remember it, as in the way it's displayed. But you can't taste it, so you feel a bit miserable sometimes because you're so looking forward to something and then it's bland.
It's all been through the blender.
Yeah. So it'd just be nice for that to be put into something in like young-onset dementia.
Is there any specific interventions you've seen, Kirsty, either with people with young onset or older, that really help someone in terms of diet interventions?
I think everybody is so individual, but certainly like food is so central to everything that we do, and that loss of taste and enjoyment from food has a massive impact on people. We sometimes see it with people who've had stroke, where they lose all taste and smell and temperature sensation. And for people with dementia, with that early onset dementia, experiencing that, it's going to have a massive impact, not just on your maybe the nutrients that you might eat, but just your general well-being. So I will do a lot of the work that I do is often geared towards supporting people to be as strong as they can be and as well as they can be recovering from stroke, for example, or for older persons, rehabilitation and inpatients. But I will do it. You've inspired me to do a deep dive into what research there is for people with early onset. And actually, has anybody done interviews with people with early onset disease and what differences there are to their taste and their enjoyment from food? And it's at that earlier stage. So yeah, thank you for really emphasizing that. And I'm sure it's something that lots of people experience, given that both of you are experiencing those changes in your diet and your taste and enjoyment of food. But yeah, what I would say is there's no one size fits all. It's a bit of trial and error of figuring out in terms of textures, taste, spice levels, what helps you to improve your enjoyment from food.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh,
thank you.
Yeah, no, it's been really, really helpful. And if you do get a chance to go away and look at all that, it'd be great to have you back on in 6 months or a year or discuss it further, because I think it's a huge topic and it's something that we're interested in with the app that we're developing. Is how do you help people to live better and longer with dementia, with a better quality of life? And as you're talking, it's making me think that AI could probably play a little part in how personalised menus and recipes could come together, that are suiting of your tastes and who you are and, your background and what you like and don't like. And then thinking about how can it be healthy, but also textureful and flavourful from your perspective.
It'd also help if the people doing the menus spoke to the people with dementia.
Yeah, on these cookbooks,
Yeah.
That would be.
I will mention a couple of resources, like the main focus on trying to improve cognitive health is focused around healthy eating, is kind of what the national guidelines in the UK recommend, and that's what the World Health Organization recommend. But I'm sure you may have looked into the sort of Mediterranean diet or the DASH diet or the MIND diet. Would you want me to go into any of those just now, or
please
no?
Please go for it. Yeah.
So the DASH diet is the dietary approaches for stopping hypertension.
It's easy for you to say.
It's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? It's actually the next one's even harder. So the MIND diet is the Mediterranean diet combined with the DASH intervention for neurodegenerative delay.
Okay.
So these are really the kind of two main diets that have been clinically studied to look at what can help slow any cognitive decline and help people's well-being. So like I say, in the UK, the general recommendations are healthy eating, a Mediterranean style diet. There isn't a standard definition of a Mediterranean style diet that exists. But the fundamental principles of the MIND diet and the DASH diet are really having those fruits, those vegetables, those whole grains, having fish twice a week, ideally once oily, lowering your sugar intake, again, low to moderate alcohol intake, and having sort of beans, pulses, lentils, kind of 4 times a week. So the MIND study, the most recent one, sort of intervention study where they monitored people's progress over 3 years, was published in 2023. So it found that there was a 30% reduction in cognitive decline compared to the control. But they also found that the MIND diet, in comparison to the control diet, which was kind of healthy eating, didn't have a significant difference. So, I mean, I think the fundamental message is that healthy eating, including lean meats, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, pulses, nuts, more olive oils, rapeseed oil, sunflower oils, as opposed to saturated fat, may definitely be beneficial for our mind and our brain health, alongside exercise and reducing stress, social interaction, all of these things. So there is good evidence for that. But again, there's maybe not good evidence as to if you're experiencing taste changes, how easy is it for you to change your diet, depending on what you've previously eaten and what your likes and dislikes are now.
Amazing. Yeah. I think you've just inspired a whole new section of the podcast where every week we can talk about where we're up to with our mind. And what was the other one? Mind and
the DASH diet. DASH diet.
Yeah,
DASH diet.
That's it. Right. Yeah. New segment, weekly segment. You two are buggered. You're going to be eating all sorts of crap in the next few weeks.
I eat oily fish once a week. Oh, Chippy does oily fish.
There you go.
I'm trying to have fruit and nut.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Great. So what we'll do is we'll have a short break. We'll come back and do the regular Reminiscence Corner, and then maybe we'll have a short break after that and introduce the new section, which has just been created.
And I'll put some water with me whiskey.
There you go. Hey. Awesome. We'll have a little break there. Thanks, Kirsty.
Oh,
thank you.
That's great.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Tom
so
and
much.
Fran.
Great.
A few years ago, I started to get a lot more interested in prevention. I mean, water is the biggest thing, like staying hydrated, that was number 1. Number 2 was fatty fish or caviar.
Caviar,
because caviar is or fish eggs, very concentrated versions of what you get in salmon. Berries, dark green, leafy veg. There's one more that I'll come back to. Olive oil, that was the other one. So extra virgin olive oil.
Well done, must be working, you've remembered all 5.
Yeah. If you'd asked me a few years ago, I'd have forgotten all those.
Brilliant. So that was Stephen, who was referring a scientist from America that had identified these 5 things to think about when it comes to specific foods. Wondering your thoughts on what Stephen shared in that clip, Kirsty?
So, I mean, I think he's got some good points. Like, I think water and staying hydrated is kind of vital for health. I think like berries are really full of antioxidants, fiber, vitamins, green leafy veg, again, olive oil. But again, rapeseed oil has got similar types of fat to olive oil. the caviar.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how you managed to pinpoint the caviar as being the best thing for health. I guess it depends on your bank balance, and I guess I don't know. I think I've only ever had caviar once, and it's just a bit weird, isn't it? And it's not for me, I don't think.
I'm wondering, because it's so salty, whether you'd like it.
Yeah,
definitely.
There you go.
I have had it before.
But oily fish is the idea, right, as well, like you mentioned before, twice a week.
Yeah, definitely. Fish like twice a week and once oily. So that can be sardines, mackerel, fresh tuna counts as oily, but tinned tuna doesn't count as oily. I like mackerel, tinned mackerel with a spicy tomato sauce. You might like that, Tom.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, try that,
Tom.
Yeah,
we'll get him the mackerel.
There you go. What about salmon? Like smoked salmon or fresh salmon?
So yeah, absolutely. Fresh salmon and smoked salmon both counts as oily.
Amazing.
Again, really good source of those essential oils, which are good for the brain and your omega fats. So yeah, I would recommend having them. I guess if somebody didn't like fish, I know my partner, he only likes fish if it's in batter.
Sensible man, really. Our Chippy does oily fish.
Yeah. Then I guess caviar is an alternative.
Yeah. Well, it leads us nicely onto our brand new segment created today, which Tom's already titled Oily Fish. So each week we're going to have a segment dedicated to diet, talking about recipes, things that we've tried. So one thing that I think would be great to discuss, seeing as you're here, Kirsty, so I had Jamaican jerk chicken with rice and plantain, which is a bit sweet, bit of texture on the plantain. What do you reckon?
Plantain, no. It's got no need to be in food. It needs to go in a bin.
Okay.
I agree with you. I think it's quite tasteless.
Failed.
I've had it once and that was enough.
Yeah.
And can you think of anything, Kirsty, that you've had in the last week or two that would be a good meal that would hit some of the points that we taught today in terms of spice or salty or texture, that would follow the mind or dash diets, which we'll eventually learn the terms for. It's a submission of the oily fish segment.
The mind, you do kind of think of the mind and the brain, but the dash diet, I don't know, you think about dashing somewhere. So I've been very organised with my breakfasts this week. I've been having overnight oats with frozen fruit, and I added a bit of flaxseed and a bit of yogurt.
Nice.
So that kind of fits in perfectly into the mind diet and the dash diet. In terms of main meals, like I love spicy food. And I actually went to a new Caribbean restaurant that had just opened last week. And I had a kind of coconut curry, which was chicken and rice and a kind of spicy sort of Caribbean jerk style sauce. And I had some corn on the side, some corn on the cob. So I did get a vegetable in there. But I guess often when you're eating out, meals don't often always contain a lot of vegetables, or sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But yeah, I guess if you had rice and peas, if you had the beans there, then that would be included. It can be challenging. Like my partner, I'm talking about him again, but he likes a traditional diet of meat and potatoes predominantly. Yeah. So I add in extra vegetables that he doesn't see, or I add in extra vegetables to mine if he doesn't want to eat them himself.
Yeah.
So, but there's simple things, isn't there? Like if you're making a chili, adding some kidney beans. If you're making like a chicken casserole, adding some butter beans. There's different ways around it, isn't there? But yeah, in terms of fish, we normally get fish on a Friday, but I didn't get any this week because I went out for that Caribbean food.
How did them two land with you? Overnight oats with yogurt and berries. Oh, sorry, frozen. What was it?
Frozen berries.
Frozen.
Yeah.
Berries.
Frozen berries, and I added a bit of flaxseed as well.
Flaxseed. How does that sound?
I've had it before. Manny's done them, but I find them very dry. And
Overnight
bland.
oats.
Yeah,
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Even with yogurt? Have you had it with yogurt?
Have I had it with yogurt? Yeah. Obviously. But I think if I had prunes, I'd have the DASH diet.
So,
Oh, he's settling on off now.
And I think vegetables is the devil's food. You know, I just can't eat them now.
I could see where you're coming on with the overnight oats. I put like gluten-free granola on the top to give it a bit of crunch, and sometimes flax seeds or chia seeds, which also can make it a bit crunchy. Have you ever tried that on top?
No, but I think I'd put honey on it.
Yeah.
Because then I'd have the taste of flavour of honey then, wouldn't it? The sugar. Yeah.
There you go. Fran, how does the overnight oats
Because I
land
bought
with
that
you?
little jar out to B&M.
Have you?
That gives you like
What's that?
oats, yogurt,
Okay, yeah.
and fruit.
Mm-hmm.
And you put it in the fridge overnight. But I did look forward to it. And then Frank had some and said it was lovely. But I just couldn't taste it. So it's also, you think, oh, that looks lovely, that.
Are you up for giving it a go, making
then-
it yourself at home this week?
I have made it.
Oh, you have?
That's
Okay.
what I'm saying, yeah.
Great.
Frank likes it. He says it's dead nice, but I can't get anything
And did you
nice
try
out
anything
of it.
like crumbly on top, like chia seeds or flax seeds
No,
or
I didn't, to be
chocolate?
honest.
granola?
No.
No chocolate. Well, dark chocolate maybe.
Dark chocolate,
I
yeah.
have dark chocolate,
Yeah.
but I have the whole bar.
He's a terror.
You want to see Marion's face now? I'll have overnight oats for the rest of the year now.
Hey, it's better than cereal with 3 teaspoons of sugar.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
your opinion. But,
You tell him, Kirsty.
Kirsty,
No,
I'll try my best to resolve my diet somehow. But I've got dementia.
Well, I
What does
do
it
always
matter?
say everything in moderation, Tom. So
Yeah,
there's no
exactly.
bad food.
Oh, I do moderate my food, I think. Well, Marion moderates it for me.
What about Jamaican jerk chicken?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Amanda's
given-
mum makes
that's-
me that.
We've done that at home, I think, or something similar, and it's okay, yeah.
Yeah.
With a lot
it's
of,
Pretty
hot.
spicy, like, yeah.
Yeah.
You just get
It's got
the heat.
Yeah.
yeah, but in our house, there's only me like spice. Marion doesn't like
okay.
too much and Karen, and you won't even go near it half the time.
Yeah.
I love spicy stuff.
What about you, Marion? Fran and Tom, this week? Can you think of a meal that you've enjoyed that was also healthy or part of those diets?
I had a stir fry the other day.
Mm.
It was healthy, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all right, yeah.
Chicken,
Was it chicken?
mackerel.
Yeah,
There you
mackerel,
go.
that's, yeah. And that wasn't from the chippy.
Mm.
The oily fish, chippy.
Yeah, the oily fish chippy.
And what about you, Fran? Anything you can
We
think
just
of?
had chicken thighs with lots of paprika,
Oh, okay.
and I put that in olive oil and put a bit of chilli in. And the paprika was smoked because the smokiness you can taste. So we had that.
Any
with
rice or veg
vegetables,
with that?
Vegetables.
Or vegetables?
Yeah. Frank had spuds. I didn't. Well, he had chips. I didn't.
That's spuds, isn't it?
Awesome.
Probably
Well, there you
5
go.
a day.
Kirsty, you've inspired a whole new section of the show, so we'll let you know how it's going in 6 months. Because there is a real gap for recipes and ideas and talking about this aspect of you losing your taste. So I think if we talk about it regularly and we can also have the diets up in front of us and think about what's there each week, I think it'll be a good reminder for people who listen and watch.
We'll take pics.
And we can take, there we go.
We could do a
Start taking
cooking
pic-
class.
Yeah.
I was just thinking we should go and try and cook because that'll be a disaster and hilarious.
Yeah,
That would be
I
hilarious.
don't
It would make a
remember the
great show.
recipes.
What was
throw
that,
anything
Kirsty?
in.
I done a cake.
It sounds like it'd be very entertaining, and
Absolutely.
And the thing is, you could
Miss
experiment
loads.
with so many different spices and
Yeah,
see
exactly.
what works.
We'll be like on that The Apprentice when they go and make something and
Yeah.
they've got all the spices in front of them. It'll be a total disaster.
And then we get the sack.
And then
Oh,
you
we
take-
get you fired.
Awesome. Well, on that note, I'd just like to say a really big thanks, Kirsty. I think you've
thank you.
made the
Yeah,
Really
conversation
nice
for
to
that.
meet you.
really easy.
Well, thank
to
you so
follow
much for
along.
inviting me. It's a real pleasure, and it's made me think a lot about eating and drinking and the differences that people can experience, and that there's definitely more research needed for those people and at diagnosis to see that they get the information that they want at the right time. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
Thank
Kirsty.
you.
Thank you.
See you
Thanks,
Yeah, good
everyone.
luck with the
Bye.
sugar in your cereal, Tom.
My wife will stop that now. You watch. She'll lock my cut sugar away.
Thanks.
Couple of dates.
Thank you.
I'll spend all day in the toilet. Thank you, Kirsty. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
I'm going to get told off now.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much for listening today. I hope anyone gets any help out of this. You've enjoyed it.
Thanks again for listening today. Just a reminder to do your own research. We always take guests, scientists, researchers, people supporting people living with dementia, people living with dementia at their word. They might talk about things that are new in science. They might talk about things that have really helped them. So just a reminder, do your own research. And thanks again for listening.